Hello, welcome back to the MJ Gooner podcast right here for the post-match review. Arsenal 3, Chelsea 1. What a great way to turn this tide around after dropping 4 points. Well, how many points did we drop out of those 12 games? I believe we dropped a total of, what was it? Let me do the math correctly. We dropped 9 points out of 12. And we finally got a win against Chelsea. Of course, we all know Chelsea has been terrible throughout the whole season, but more importantly, the last 7-8 games were defeated, consecutive defeats under the Lampard era. Of course, it's not going to last long. We know that Lampard is going to depart by the end of the season, but of course, again, I'm pretty sure I did talk about this before. You know what? It's sad to see the state of Chelsea Football Club. We all know they have great history in Europe, great history in the Premier League, and more importantly, great history with the players. Of course, they have the legend of, for example, Ashley Cole, SCN, Drogba, all of them. You guys can name it. But right now, whatever the shit that we're looking at Chelsea, it's completely different, not the same vibe anymore. Right now, I'm sure a lot of teams would go and play against Chelsea and have that kind of a strolling the park, that kind of a vibe where, despite Todd Bowley spent $600 million in a transfer window, and they still couldn't get a win. Of course, I'm pretty sure I did mention about this before. I would feel bad for them, but the fact that they spent that much money in the transfer window and the way how Todd Bowley was treating the whole transfer market was just a joke. He sees that as a career mode. I'm sure a lot of people would think that, but certainly it has to be. There's no way you'll be dropping that much money on certain players where they haven't really lived up to that expectation. Of course, we know the whole Mudryk thing going on, sagas over the transfer window. Certainly, that was a very fun story, fun ride, but in the end, I'm sure Arsenal won that transfer window in the end. We got Trossard in the end, which has been very effective in terms of playing as our left on the left-hand side, or even in the middle as well. And I'm sure we won that one. But today, not today, it was 2 days ago, it was a little bit different for me. I would usually watch all the games or, try to watch all the games that I can. So far, it has been amazing. So far, it has been hell of a ride in terms of watching games. The only games that I pretty much missed this season was the game against Brighton at home in the Carabao Cup. I believe we lost to Brighton 3-1 or 4-1, something like that. But again, that game doesn't really count in the end in terms of, me watching the game. Well, it wasn't televised anywhere in this world. So that was the only game that I missed so far. And of course, this game, I missed it as well. It was more of a personal time, spending time with my girlfriend that day on Tuesday, so I decided to opt out the game against Chelsea. No matter how much I wanted to watch it, at the same time, I feel like I didn't quite want to watch this because it's there's all the narratives happening around the game. Aubameyang starting for Chelsea, we all know it's going to happen. The fact that Frank Lampard made it very explicitly about Aubameyang, he felt like he's the type of player that, traveling back to the Emirates, and there's a little bit of a closure that he hasn't quite gotten from Arsenal or from his footballing career, and potentially if Lampard, start him on that day, potentially is gonna, triggers that little bit of a fire within Aubameyang, but turns out it didn't really do anything to us. which we'll talk about the game later. But right now, let's talk about the build up to the game. There's so many questions asked around the whole Arsenal camp after the defeat against Man City. We are kind of limping in this hole where we just couldn't really get out. And I totally understand that. I was on the phone with my dad. My dad was like, once we lost that 2-0 lead to Liverpool, he knew that we are pretty much deep dive into a pool of mud. And that's exactly what he was talking about and exactly what we're seeing. Drawing against Liverpool was fine, but the fact that you couldn't really get out of the slump, that 1-game slump or 2-game slump against West Ham, Southampton certainly will affect the title race and, of course, affect our pre-game morale against Man City. That's pretty much what happened last week or a few days ago. Again, it sucks, but life has to move on, and this is the game that we have to move on against Chelsea at home. I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans are not quite very confident, despite Chelsea has been poor in the last 7 to 8 games. But for us, we have our own shit to think about, to worry. Can we get out of the slump during this crucial time? I know the title race has become very slim, and the fact that yesterday City beat West Ham 3-0 and, of course, put them back at the top of the league table. Certainly not. It's not going to help Arsenal. But you know what? What we can do right now, as I said it before many, many times, the only way for us to carry on with this season is to win the remaining games. Win as many as we can. We can't really rely on other teams to beat City anymore. Right now, they are on beast mode. I doubt we are going to catch up with City. And I'm sure we saw this stats around Sky Sports or somewhere else, after the win against Arsenal from City, they have a 90% chance of winning the league, and we only have 10% chance. So for us, the Arsenal fan, we pretty much have to rely on that, 10% hope. But again, it's very tough. I'm sure it's all done and dusted right now. Again, do our job, trying to win as many games as possible to finish this season strong. So, yeah, there were a lot of talks about, in terms of starting lineup. Rob Holding was clearly, again, I don't think personally he's struggling, but the fact that he has to be surrounded with his teammates, certainly not working very well in terms of working with the team dynamics. And certainly Thomas Partey was another topic where he was very poor in the past few games. And the topic of having Jorginho coming in for him would be a big conversation, especially for Jorginho, 31-year-old, and has to play against his former team. Literally, he was there 4 or 5 months ago, and right now he is playing in a completely different color shirt, color jersey, different team. And for Trossard, he has to be in one of the starting line. There's no way you have to drop him once again. Like I said, for the past few games, Trossard has been amazing coming off the bench, but then again, a good question's being asked for the past few games, or for the past few days even. Who would you drop at this point? Would you drop Jesus, Saka, or even Martinelli, or in a bolder move you wanna drop Xhaka? I know Xhaka didn't have a good game against City, but I'm sure in the whole season there's one hiccup. And that was pretty much the hiccup of the season. That was our biggest defeat of the season, I believe so. Alongside with losing to City at home 3-1 and losing to United 3-1 as well. And of course, so let's talk about the game. Starting lineup, like I said, I said this earlier. I always get that kind of brain fart. Yeah, I did manage to watch the game in the end. I spent time with my girlfriend. We went hiking. So the fact that it's weird that I'm not overly relying on my phone, just trying to check the score. We were in the wild pretty much, hiking. Didn't really have good signal, but the fact that I think I was in a restaurant before I hike. I try not to check my phone. I try not to go on Twitter, Instagram, any social media at all. I don't want to check the score. I want to keep it fresh. I want to, record the game. Yeah, of course, I want to record the game, not being exposed to any social media. And by the time I get home that night, I'll be able to watch the game without knowing the score 9-10 hours ahead. But I am a man who can't really resist in terms of this kind of situation. So I have to peek whatever I need to peek. So the first thing I peek was the starting lineup. So I was driving on the highway. I clicked on Arsenal against Chelsea, went down to the starting lineup, start with Aaron Ramsdale and go as expected. When I scrolled down, it caught my eyes. It was Jakub Kiwior making his full Arsenal debut against Chelsea. What a big game for him, especially the fact that we spent 23 million euros or $23 million. I don't know what's the currency, but 23 million pounds just to just to have him sit on the bench for the majority of the season so far. And I think it was the right call. I genuinely think it was the right call because there's no way you spend 23 million for a youngster like him. Of course, he could potentially surpass what Rob Holding can offer. The fact that you spend that much money on a player like a defender, and right now, of course, we need a proper defender. We need a whole defensive, we just need to change the whole defensive system. And we can't really stick with Rob Holding anymore. And out of my surprise, Mikel Arteta actually made a good move, which is to start Jakub Kiwior. Again, before the game started, I know there are certain changes that Arsenal should be made. Like starting lineup has to be changed in some way to kind of break this deadlock a little bit. And I know Mikel, I know he is not that adventurous in terms of his starting lineup unless it has to be. And before this game, I thought to myself, I don't think he's going to change anything despite there are possibilities around the club, around the starting lineup where, like I said, Jorginho could be coming in, Trossard could be coming in, or even Jakub Kiwior could be coming in as well. And out of my surprise, Mikel Arteta did make 3 changes in total in that game. Compared to the previous game, I was surprised. Like I said, he never made changes like this before, and finally he did. And right now we got a win. And later on, scroll down a little bit. All I can see is Jorginho replacing Partey, Xhaka, and Martin Odegaard. And scroll down a little bit, I see Trossard, Jesus, and also Bukayo Saka. And there you go. We made 3 changes. And turns out those 3 changes were the January signings that we made. All 3 of them made their full debut. Not full debut, but it's the first time where all 3 of them start in the same game. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, then we have to find another solution. But right now, we have been stuck with the same formation for the past 4 games. Certainly, we do need a change. And today, it's also a lesson for Mikel Arteta. A change could be good. And I saw this tweet somewhere on Twitter saying that, at the start of the season, I forgot who wrote that, but I 100% agree with what he said. He said something like, at the start of the season, we need explosive energy from our young players. That's why you put all the young talents in there. But later on in the season, when fatigue kicks in, when inexperience, immaturity kicks in, you need to field some of the mature players in there. Jorginho is one of them, who has been amazing since he signed for Arsenal. Very calm on the ball despite not being very, speedy, gifted. But his technical ability has been amazing. Trossard, 29, but certainly needs a little bit of more experience up top. And Kiwior, that's the only change that we have to make. Again, it could be, the fact that he was starting might be stressing a lot of Arsenal fans, even a lot of coaching coaching staffs and also Arteta, the fact that playing two left-footed center backs might not be it. The fact that we have never seen that combination before. We always see a right-footed with a right-footed, but never with a left-footed and a left-footed. But I'm glad today we actually, did quite well in that area. So game on right now. Game on right there. I'm sure the first 15 minutes we look like a team that we look like a team who really, really wanted to, the energy level was so much different compared to Southampton City, West Ham, Liverpool, just completely different. Actually, for Liverpool and West Ham, we have the same energy level. But, going back home after a very frustrating month of April, it's just nice to see an Arsenal team who seems to have the purpose to play again, to put their lives on the line just to go for the final sprint of the title. First 15 minutes have been amazing, and of course the first chance fell for pretty much on our side, well on their side, pretty much their final third. Our final third. Is that our final third? Well, into the Chelsea's box. Well, Azpilicueta, tried to head it back to Kepa, but it was a little bit of a misjudge on that header. Xhaka was tugging him from behind, trying to tap it in, but unfortunately Kepa with a great save right there. But that's pretty much the start of the fear for the Chelsea fans. The fact that tiny mistake like that almost capitalized them. And later on, 18th minute, Granit Xhaka picked up a pass in the middle. He finds Martin Odegaard, and what a great finish right there by Martin Odegaard. That was a brilliant finish, and of course, I thought the ball was a little bit more towards the corner than it initially shown, but nonetheless, great power, great technique, and also great pass from Granit Xhaka, and we have taken a 1-0 lead just like that with a great finish by Martin Odegaard. And I know there are a lot of pundits, a lot of footballing fans were criticizing Martin Odegaard in the last game, and I felt that was a little bit harsh. The fact that he has been amazing, carrying this Arsenal side throughout this whole season. I mean, just a one bad game against Man City should not define his character, his ability as a player as well. But today, he scored a stunner right there and 1-0. That moment you thought, 1-0 is good, but the fact that I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans, even myself, I wouldn't celebrate in that instance because you would never know right now. Arsenal could be 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 ahead, and we somehow could bottle the lead. But we just have to keep, looking down, keep working hard. That's what we have to do, to be honest. Later on, 31st minute. Well, actually, before that, there was a clumsy challenge by Saka. Just fell down on the floor, and I think it was Ben Chilwell took a shot. Ramsdale, great save right there to keep the score 1-0. But Ben White certainly had not his best game against Chelsea, kind of struggling in the first half, especially against Sterling. Just kind of giving a lot of way of possession. The fact that I couldn't really manhandling him that day. Certainly, it's not Ben White's strongest first half. In the 31st minute, we scored a second goal. Again, Chelsea defense has been shite, absolute shite. And of course, we are thankful for the opportunity that we score from. But the fact that when you look at Chelsea, a few years ago, there's no way Chelsea would be allowing these kind of goals being scored. Just like that. And it was just poor marking in general. First one, I believe, Kovacic couldn't really mark, or it was blindsided. Couldn't mark Odegaard, and Odegaard scores that one. Later on, Sterling. Well, it was a cross from Granit Xhaka. Good cross again. Kind of finding that pocket of space in the final 12-yard. And somehow Odegaard smart enough just to find, picked up where the pass was, where the cross was. It was in between. It was, in between, in the middle of Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, and also Raheem Sterling. Just like that, we buries that one in. 2-0. A great finish by Martin Odegaard. 14th goal of the season for the Arsenal captain. He is having a captain's performance today. And again, I'm sure this is probably the best game, one of the best games that Martin Odegaard has so far in the Arsenal uniform. 2-0, great technique to finish the goal. Especially the goal was, the ball, the way how the ball bounced. It was in a very uncomfortable area. It was more of an area where, if you kind of, misjudge the kick of the ball, you could potentially skies that one. But Martin Odegaard just very nicely enough to keep the ball down and shoot past, or taps in, pass Kepa. 2-0, and again, this is the fear of all the Arsenal fan has. For the past month, we have been seeing 2-0 lead within in the halftime. 2-0. You thought the game is over, but no. The only thing that could ruin an Arsenal fan day, it's drum roll. Arsenal. Correct, Arsenal. 2-0 scoreline, and this is where all the fear kicked in for a lot of people, even for myself. Well, actually, not today, but if I was watching the game live today, or that day, I would be shitting myself because I wouldn't be happy at all. I don't think I'll be celebrating anything, because why would I be celebrating when I have the gut feeling where Arsenal might be conceding or might be bottling the game compared to the way how we see them in the past few games, right? 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football to us, apparently. So, 2-0, and everybody was grouping up, celebrating and stuff like that. Seems like everybody's getting the shit together. It looks good. And later on, 3 minutes later, Gabriel Jesus taps that one in front of the goal. Another horrible display by Chelsea defense. But you know what? I don't care about, Arsenal just scored because, it's Chelsea. They have a very shit defense. I don't give a damn, unfortunately, because we really do need to get a win no matter what. And just like that, 34 minutes in, we are taking a 3-0 lead. Again, at the bottom of all the Arsenal fans' heart. It's not a subtle scoreline, but certainly it's a way for us to laugh at Chelsea in a way. And funny thing is, by the time I got to the hiking venue, the mountain, I was checking the score. I let my girlfriend see the score, and she was grasping and say, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, "Shit, what is it?" And then she was like, "Oh, I don't know how to tell you this." And I was like, "Oh no, don't play this kind of game to me." So I flipped the phone, and it was 3-0 in the first half. And thank God I had such a great relief, because again, the whole planning thing that I had for this game was not looking at the social media for 8 to 9 hours, save the game or record the game and watch it like I'm watching a live game. But I just can't. The excitement, the worrisome that I have, everything all together, I just have to check the score no matter what. And I did, and thankfully I did, because that certainly put more happiness to my day. And thank God we're taking a 3-0 lead, and I'm sure we might be cruising for a win. But pretty much in the second half, we have been pressing them again. We have quite a lot of good chances. Granit Xhaka with one. Despite I feel like Granit Xhaka, if we haven't upgraded number 8, I felt like we could have, again, scoring more goals in that kind of an area. But Granit Xhaka does what Granit Xhaka does the best, which is technical ability, leadership ability as well. And today he has been flawless with arguably 3 assists, but in the end it was counted as 2. So, and later on, 65th minute, I forgot who's the other person scored from Chelsea. Manduake, I think that's how you pronounce his name. If not, I apologize for butchering his name. He scored, and that was another big problem from Zinchenko. Like I said, Zinchenko is a defensive liability, but offensively and also his control, passing, everything has been superb. But just his defense has been letting him down this season. But the goal that we conceded was very, very poor. I just don't know how to express that. It was really, really poor. It seems like Zinchenko didn't even trying to, Zinchenko didn't even trying to like go back and, seems like he put an effort at all in trying to intercept Maduake, even though he was pretty far away from Zinchenko, and Gabriel is the only one who was trying to make, a last desperate effort just to protect Ramsdale clean sheet. And Ramsdale, of course, was very frustrated, and I'm sure whoever was watching the game felt very frustrated because 65th minute conceding that goal was very dangerous according to all the Arsenal fan, to myself as well. Not a great way to concede, but well, that's pretty much it. And later on, the subs coming on, Martinelli coming on for Trossard very early on, and then Nelson coming on for Saka, Tierney coming on for Zinchenko, which is, again, Tierney, KT defense, it's much more better than Zinchenko. And later on, Gabriel, again, another moment where I felt like I was a little bit scared. The fact that he kept going down, 5 to 6 times in the game. Everybody was worried. I was really worried because the last thing that we want to get from today was any significant injury. We already lost Saliba. We lost Tomiyasu as well. And we have to rely on Rob Holding. And if Gabriel is out, it would be a disaster. But turns out today, I think I read some report today on Twitter saying that Gabriel is fit for the game, which is great, to be honest, because we just can't afford losing another defender. And later on, Mudryk coming on, getting lots of boos everywhere. Even Aubameyang getting lots of boos, and Aubameyang, again, it's nothing personal, unfortunately. Well, apparently he only had 9 touches. 4 of them were from kickoff, and it shows how I just feel bad for him. How about that? I just feel bad for him. I still love him because in the times where we're facing darkness during the Emery era and kind of a transitioning period of Arteta, Aubameyang was great. He has the Golden Boot for 2 consecutive seasons for Arsenal, and he was a quality player for Arsenal. But in the end, his ego, his attitude, everything just kind of ruined him. And there was a viral clip that went viral on Twitter. Everywhere you can see that, before the kickoff, the camera was panning around him. You can see he was regretting his decision. He would be thinking, he should have been thinking, what would be happening if he decided to stay at Arsenal. And you can see that face from him. And I felt for him. I felt like he get a lot of abuse from Arsenal fan, and right now potentially more from Chelsea fan. The fact that he's not performing at all. But you know what? It's football in the end. It's sports, not just football. It's sports, because just bad timing in general. This kind of attitude, this kind of shitty scenario is going to happen at one point. So, unfortunately, Aubameyang, he has to live with that for the rest of his life. I don't know how many more years of career that he will be playing, but certainly his days in the footballing career is limited right now. But certainly, Tuesday game will make him, fully reflect what he has done to salvage his career at Arsenal. And Mudryk coming on as well in the 60th, 70th minute. You can see there's a player in him, no doubt about that. I mean, Arteta has been scouting him. Edu has been scouting him. He's a great player. He's a good player. You guys can see that, but the fact that he needs to be handed to a right coach in order to nurture, to nourish that, his ability. And everybody can see that. The fact that I think he set down Ben White twice in that game certainly shows that he is more than capable of what we're seeing from him. But again, I don't know the exact story between the Chelsea and Mudryk, or Mudryk with Arsenal, or even all three clubs, including Shakhtar and also Mudryk. I don't know the real story, but only he knows what happened, right? But there's one shitty Arsenal fan. I have to say this. Like, no matter if you don't like Mudryk for the whole saga thing, that's fine. But there's no need to point a laser at his face throughout his appearance. I just think that was very low. Why would you do that? It's all banter and all stuff and stuff like that, but there's no need to do silly stuff like that to affect them at all. I mean, in the end, what happened if you decide to point a laser directly to his eye? That's even more fucked up in the end. But Mudryk, again, I think he made a wrong career choice. He's definitely gonna come good in the next few years, but certainly not right now, unfortunately. But we still, Trossard still wins the battle for the transfer saga. Just like that, 3-1. We were back at the top of the league table for less than 24 hours before City beat West Ham. It was it wasn't a very funny game, but it's more like I was having lunch at work. I was watching the last 10-15 minutes of the first half, Man City against West Ham. It was so stressful. Man City had a lot of chances in the first half, and the fact that they just couldn't, City just couldn't really find a goal against West Ham, giving a lot of Arsenal fans hope that West Ham would potentially get a result. Even a draw would be a benefit, but somehow West Ham was not very good after all. In the second half, just, conceding to go to Ake. Haaland breaking that 35th goal in the Premier League season record. Congratulations to him. Like I said, he was a cheat code. Well, he is a cheat code, to be honest. And he's a beast. 51 goals across all competition. But at this moment, he has to win Ballon d'Or for 2023. There's no way. I mean, he has been amazing. I know a lot of you guys might be criticizing him that he is a tap-in merchant, but the fact that tap-in needs skill as well. Being there at the right time, it's a instinctive skills that a lot of strikers should have. But Haaland, congratulations to him, and I'll be happy for him if he wins Ballon d'Or. And of course, today another comedy happened. Brighton beat Manchester United in the last minute as well. I was watching the last 10 minutes of the game, including extra time. It was an entertaining game. It shows why Brighton was so good this season. I've been watching them building, their back three to their, front five all of a sudden with one transition. They have been so good with that transitional play from Roberto De Zerbi. And in the last minute with the corner kick coming in, I didn't even see the handball from Luke Shaw, and all of a sudden the ball kind of bounces back right outside the box. I forgot who crossed the ball in. Everybody misses in the box, and turns out it was a penalty. Andre Mariner went back to the VAR scene to look at it. Turns out it was indeed a penalty, and McAllister, what a great penalty, to buries that one. And of course, adding a little bit more of a joy to Arsenal fan. But again, we still have a long way to go. 4 more games, and we have to play against a very hot team, Newcastle United, away at St. James's Park on Sunday, and that was another big one as well. If we win this game, we will officially be we will be officially be at second place. I don't think we'll drop lower than third or fourth. But again, Newcastle United is going to be a very, very tough game. And actually, before we move on, Kivior, I gotta give a shout out to Kivior on Tuesday. He had a good game. Nothing like exceptional, spectacular. If I will have to do a player rating, he is definitely going to be. I would give him 8 out of 10. I think it was really, really good. It's passing a little bit shaky at times, but other than that, he has been amazing, and that's what happened. If you spend that money, you gotta use him. You can see the good in him, then you have to use him. And in a time like this, you just need to. And Kivior, at this point, he is going to start for the remainder of the season for sure. I just don't see Rob Holding getting back into the team unless there's a significant injury. But fingers crossed, I hope no significant injury is going to happen to any of the Arsenal player for the remainder of the season. And what's the thing I was talking about? St. James's Park on Sunday, tough game. And I doubt we're going to win. I think the best result that we're going to get is a draw. But other than that, I think Arsenal might lose that game despite winning Chelsea. I'm just being very honest at this point. Newcastle has been amazing, this season. And going to St. James's Park, another narrative was, writing down on us again. Traveling away last time out in the St. James's Park, we got battered quite horribly, losing 2-0 and destroying our Champions League hope. But right now it's a different circumstances, but we're going for the title. We have to beat Newcastle. It is going to be a tough game. So hopefully we're going to win that game. But before we go, I actually do want to cover quite a bit of stuff, to be honest, in terms of the future of a lot of Arsenal players. I think the other day, Charlie Patino, it's set to leave this club permanently in the summer, seeking for more regular hours or regular first team playing time. I feel for him right now. I like Charlie Patino, to be honest. I can see there's a player in him. I can see that he could potentially fit into our system. But the way how we are building right now is not that, okay, if we're in stage 1 or 2 of our development plan process, then Charlie Patino can definitely break into the team. Same as Bukayo Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe, Martinelli. Those 3 players broke into the Arsenal team when we were completely shite. But right now, it's a different topic right now. Right now, we need to add another experience level, world-class level into our team. And right now, we just don't really have the time. We don't really have the opportunity for youngsters to make their debut for the club, unfortunately. And if Charlie Patino is seeking to play regular first-team minute, then I think a move for him would be good. But other than that, it could be a huge loss for Arsenal. But the only way that I can see this, end it in a good way is Arsenal adding a buyback clause. When Charlie Patino wants to leave whatever his future club, and Arsenal will also always be their first choice. And for Balogun, again, I think there's quite a lot of topic about his departure. I think it's gonna go, to be honest. I mean, if he stays, then Eddie has to go. I think Eddie has come to his peak now, to be honest. I don't think he can be another level ahead. I just don't see that happening. Arsenal either have to spend money on another striker, offloading Balogun and Ketia, or buying a new striker. That's pretty much our solution. Dusan Vlahovic apparently back into the conversation, but I doubt we're going to sign him again. I mean, he and his agent they weren't even on the same page from day one when we have talks with them. So I doubt it's going to be him, but hopefully we're going to find a better striker than Gabriel Jesus. Again, no offense, Gabriel Jesus has been amazing for us this season, but we need a more clinical finisher in front of goal. Definitely not him. So what? Who's next? Emile Smith-Rowe, again, big topic. I kind of see that coming in a way that his time in Arsenal might be limited. Didn't get featured at the Chelsea game despite having a very comfortable last 10-20 minutes. But yeah, Smith Rowe, again, even though he is kind of easing his way back into the game, but it just felt like we are not kind of building around him anymore. And he's playing as a number 10. We have Fabio Vieira as well. And of course, we all know the reason why we've been playing Fabio Vieira is to, because he is 35 million, just like that. But Smith Rowe, I don't know what his future is going to be like. I'm not going to be surprised if we sell him, but certainly not to any of the Premier League team. But I think a lot of people have a soft spot for him. The fact that he was, he broke into the first Arsenal team. Hell-in product. Our number 10, it's just injury, just kind of let him down in a way. But I would be very interested to see how Smith Rowe is going to get back into the team in any capacity. And who else we want to talk about? Defense, pretty much we have to sign a one defender. Oh, apparently I read something about the Kroenke family. I think they're going to give Arsenal 200 million transfer budget for the summer, which is going to be huge. We have to sign 2 midfielders, a striker / winger, and also a defender. But again, we're gonna offload quite a lot of players this summer, and I would love to see who they're going to be. And we still have 4 more games to go, and after that we are off to a summer break, and we won't be watching Arsenal for another 2-3 months. Again, I think it will be a good break, but hopefully we are going to win against Newcastle United, but I don't think Arsenal going to win that game. But thank you guys for listening to this podcast. Like this podcast in anywhere that you're listening right now. If you guys are listening through the YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you guys in a bit.